This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
States must have the authority to steward limited Medicaid resources towards providers that align with their values.
I think the only other time the United Nations, Israel, Iran, and the United States has agreed on something is that the sky is blue.
They're waking up to the aggressiveness of the LGBT movement to push this ideology on our kids.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. It was a massive blow to the nation's #1 abortion provider today, Planned Parenthood. In a 6-3 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled states do have the right to yank Medicaid funding from organizations that offer abortions. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster.
The people of South Carolina have the right to make this decision for themselves, for our state.
It's got pro-abortion groups up in arms nationwide.
For a lot of people, there won't be another affordable option to get primary preventive care.
South Carolina was defended by the Christian legal firm Alliance Defending Freedom.
States must have the authority to steward limited Medicaid resources towards providers that align with their values and serve their citizens' true health care needs, not a multi-billion-dollar entity advancing an activist agenda.
CBS's Jan Crawford says it will have a ripple effect in red states.
I think you'll see efforts in conservative states, and there have already been many underway, to say that if you want to have Medicaid pay for some of your health care services, then the state's going to have more leeway in deciding who's going to be a qualified provider.
Planned Parenthood conducted 402,000 abortions in 2023, more than any other center in the nation. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressed the state of Iran's nuclear facilities head on in a press conference today. She said, "We've had surveillance on all 3 nuclear sites for weeks and no uranium was moved."
Director Ratcliffe and the president's entire national security team were obviously watching these sites very closely in the weeks and the days leading up to the attack on Saturday.
Leavitt said the leaked intelligence report was inaccurate.
It was a total obliteration, as the president said, and not only does our own intelligence say that, but also the Iranian foreign minister. We saw Israel conclude the same thing based on their own intelligence. We also had the United Nations say that as well. I think the only other time the United Nations, Israel, Iran, and the United States has agreed on something is that the sky is blue, but they all agree that Iran's nuclear facilities were completely demolished.
Leavitt's press conference held just hours after the Pentagon gave its briefing. They too were irritated with the press coverage. Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane described the attack to set the record straight for the press.
All 6 weapons at each vent at Fordo went exactly where they were intended to go.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth got irritated with a reporter who printed a false report.
You've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally.
Meanwhile, today, the White House confirmed the FBI is investigating the leak of that intelligence report. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said when they find out who is responsible, they will be charged, even if it's a member of Congress.
Shortly after information was sent to the members of Congress, this leaked. I'm not aware of an immunity clause that protects anybody in this country from disclosing classified, top secret, or even higher information to the New York Times.
Iran's supreme leader resurfaced today, accusing President Trump of exaggerating the impact of those U.S. strikes. CBS reporter Imtiaz Tayeb is in Tehran.
Well, after days of silence, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, congratulated his country's, quote, victory over Israel. But after nearly 2 weeks of intense fighting, Iran's airspace had been closed and over 600 people had been killed.
President Trump says the U.S. will entertain nuclear talks with Iran next week, but he's not holding his breath that any deal will get done.
We may sign an agreement. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought. Now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not.
The president's big, beautiful bill is due a week from tomorrow, and it's still locked up in Congress.
GOP leaders continue to insist that they think they can meet the president's timetable, but there's a lot to resolve between now and the July 4th holiday. holiday.
And today marks 10 years since the U.S. Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states. It was June 26, 2015, when the 5-4 decision came down. Michael Geer with the Pennsylvania Family Institute says that ruling started us down a slippery slope of sorts when it comes to LGBTQ plus ideology.
Americans are waking up to the implications of that decision, including what the real value and purpose of marriage is, and they're waking up to the aggressiveness of the LGBT movement to push this ideology on our kids, telling them they can change their sex, that sexual experimentation is a good thing. All of that came in like a flood after Obergefell, and people are just getting tired of it.
Nearly 600,000 same-sex couples have tied the knot in the decade since the Supreme Court sanctioned gay marriage. Today, nearly 2/3 of Americans say they approve of homosexual marriage. Less than 3 in 10 did 30 years ago. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a big Sunday hunting update in Pennsylvania. Thunderstorm warnings on the docket for some, and Micron is affecting wildlife in central New York. Those stories after weather.
Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. The call for tonight, mainly cloudy skies. There'll be a shower in spots. Could be an early rumble of thunder. Low temperatures, generally upper 50s and 60s. Tomorrow and Saturday, plenty of clouds, breaks of sun, a few scattered showers, and either afternoon could pop a thunderstorm or two. High temperatures reaching the 70s and low 80s tomorrow, and probably in the mid-70s to the middle 80s on Saturday. Both days will feel more humid as well.
Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories, making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. A flash flood warning is in effect for Lackawanna County and PA until 6:45 tonight. Severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued for Berks and Lehigh counties, and there are strong storm cells just under Williamsport in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Titusville, Warren, and Clarion in western Pennsylvania. So use some caution on your drive home. The Sunday hunting bill is one step closer to becoming a law in Pennsylvania. The state Senate today passed House Bill 1431, which would repeal the Commonwealth's Sunday hunting ban by a vote of 34 to 16. It now heads to the House, where it previously passed. If approved, the bill will head to Governor Josh Shapiro's desk. Steve Smith, executive director for the Pennsylvania Game Commission, says, quote, Pennsylvania hunters are on the brink of gaining the opportunity to hunt on additional Sundays. The $100 billion Micron facility in central New York took a huge step forward yesterday with the release of a preliminary report on how the project will impact the surrounding community. Onondaga County Executive Ryan McMahon.
The reality is when you make things, there is going to be impacts, and that's the balance we need to find.
McMahon says Micron will build wetlands to protect endangered animals that will be impacted by the computer chip manufacturing project. And the Pennsylvania History Museum will soon undergo a $55 million renovation effort. That building has stood in the state capital of Harrisburg for 6 decades. Andrea Lowry is executive director of the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission.
This will be the largest and most comprehensive upgrade to the museum since the complex opened in 1964.
The renovation project includes a new 5th-floor terrace overlooking the Susquehanna River and the city of Harrisburg. The project is expected to begin in the spring of 2026. Next at 5, a huge victory for kids at faith-based schools in the Keystone State. Let's listen in. This is Faith Under Fire. We take you straight to the voices on the front lines of religious battlegrounds. I'm news anchor Sarah Harnish, and with me today, attorney Thomas Breath. We're talking religious rights of kids. A huge religious freedom case won in Pennsylvania. The City of State College up against a group of families of children attending religious schools. Here's the question. Can those kids go to public school extracurricular activities? And the answer is yes.
We asked the federal judge to rule in the parents' favor based upon a First Amendment free exercise violation of the U.S. Constitution as well as an equal protection violation. And I'm happy to report after almost 2 years of litigation, the parties resolved the litigation this year, and a consent order was entered by the judge enabling all of the students that attend parochial schools within the State College Area School District to have the same rights to participate as homeschool and charter school kids.
How is this a win for religious freedom in the Keystone State?
In many ways, it seems to be a subtle win, but it's such an important win. So many of these parents that want to send their kids to parochial schools to further their religious beliefs have to make the choice between, do I continue to grow my religious faith with my children, the family, or do I send them to a public school where they have greater opportunities for athletic scholarships? Many of these public schools, like the State College Area School District, have a vast array of educational offerings. AP courses, honors courses, a larger array of language courses and things of that nature that unfortunately smaller parochial schools just don't have the resources to offer. So obviously their children say, listen, I want to play lacrosse, and the parochial school doesn't have a lacrosse program. I want to dance in the musical, or I want to pursue French or a different language that isn't offered in the parochial school. And they've had to forbear those opportunities to foster their religious beliefs. And that's a decision that's a discriminatory scenario that they shouldn't be put in.
Will this have a ripple effect for other districts across the state?
It's already started. I've spoken with 3 or 4 other parents of students that attend parochial schools, so I believe it will have a ripple effect. We are looking to clarify this statewide so that all of the school districts within the state, including the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association that governs athletics in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that everybody recognizes that these students have an individual constitutional right to participate in the same manner as homeschool and charter school students. It's been such a common practice of discrimination that I think most people don't even recognize it as discrimination. And as I talk to various people about the case and the legal theories behind the case, many times it takes them a while to realize, you know what, now I understand. That really is wrong. That really is discrimination. You can't make exceptions for homeschool students and charter school students and then say, but no, parochial school kids, they're in a religious school. To me, it's a process of educating people on, you can't just say separation of church and state and somehow that, makes you immune from accountability for denying generally available benefits to individuals solely based upon their religious beliefs. And that's what's been going on, and it's been going on for a long time. And with the help of my clients, and with the good Lord guiding us, hopefully we'll be able to bring it to an end.
Learn more at thomasmoresociety.org. You can subscribe, listen to, and share Faith Under Fire and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Did you know there's a prayer about money in Proverbs 30? Hi, I'm Rob West with the Faith and Finance Minute. In that chapter, a man named Agur asked 2 things of God. First, he prays, remove far from me falsehood and lying. Then secondly, he prays, give me neither poverty nor riches. And he expands on that. He says, feed me with the food that is needful for me, lest I be full and deny you and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God. He knows that wealth tempts us to forget God, while poverty tempts us to stop trusting the Lord's care and provision. Well, may having money never turn us away from God, and may a lack of it never cause our trust in Him to fail. Connect with a certified Kingdom advisor who's been trained to deliver financial advice that aligns with your Christian values by visiting our website, faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, it is time to brush up on your greeting skills. We'll tell you how after weather.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast for much of the region. What a difference a couple days have made. Temperatures a couple days ago in the 90s. This afternoon, parts of the area barely above 60. We move on in time, the warmer days, but also a continued risk of some showers and rumbles. The call for tonight, mainly cloudy skies. There'll be a shower in spots. Could be an early rumble of thunder. Low temperatures, generally upper 50s and 60s. Tomorrow and Saturday, plenty of clouds, breaks of sun, a few scattered showers, and either afternoon could pop a thunderstorm or 2. High temperatures reaching the 70s and low 80s tomorrow, and probably in the mid 70s to the middle 80s on Saturday. Both days will feel more humid as well.
Finally, at 5, drag out the hand sanitizer because today is National Handshake Day. Correspondent Bree Tennis tells us where this greeting ritual came from anyway.
Shaking hands dates back to the 5th century BC as a way for soldiers to ensure no hidden daggers were in another soldier's hands. That simple task morphed into a gesture of greeting and respect, but it's gross. The American Journal of Infection Control says a handshake transfers twice as many bacteria as a high five and about 10 times as many as a fist bump. I'm Bree Tennis.
Yeah, that's disgusting. And that's the world that we live in for Thursday, the 26th of June. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.